It's explaining here that the source of song is embedded already in everything that's created. Okay, so we got that down. Now, this is where it gets very interesting. Rabbi Nachman says here, V'zeh sod. Now I'm telling you another secret. Page 280 in the Hebrew, 4 lines down. V'zeh sod. Rabbi Nachman is saying, hey, I'm telling you a secret. Here's the secret I'm telling you. So I'm going to say this because it's a little interesting. This is the deeper meaning. Now Rabbi Nachman is explaining the source of music in the Bible. The first time ever music is mentioned in the Bible. Very interesting. This is the deeper meaning of the verse. And Ada bore Yaval. Ada was the man. Yaval was a son. And he was the father of tent dwellers with cattle. This was the first guy in creation who was a shepherd. This was a new world. Adam, Noah had the sons, and the new world was just happening. And this is something new. A guy became a shepherd for the first time on the earth. His name was Yaval, and he said, "Oh, let's have cows, and let's sell the cows, and let's graze the cows. That's what I'm going to do in my life." Watch this. His brother's name was Yuval. You have Yaval and Yuval. He was the father of all who play harp and flute. Period. First time music is mentioned in the Torah, or anywhere in anything written. So, if we go, let's see here. Okay, so what I wanted to do is, I wanted to go back a little bit. I want to explain what it says that the shepherd's melody is, when the shepherd is walking among the grasses, he starts to sing. So the first time music came into the world is because the shepherd is hanging out with the grass and the animals. So the animals are eating the grass, which have the song in it. It's going into the animal, and the shepherd's picking up the energy of the animal, and that's why he starts singing. So that's what Rabbi Nachman says. So he says here, shepherds are, footnote 8, shepherds are accustomed to singing a song while tending their flocks. Rabbi Nachman teaches here that each shepherd gets his melody, which is unique to him, from the flora in the fields where he takes the animals to graze. As mentioned in the previous note, each blade of grass and every shrub and tree sings praise to God. The shepherd draws from the energy in these songs of praise to create his own personal song and melody. You've never heard of such a thing. Okay, so now,
people seem happier in nature.
There you go, right? You want to go back to yourself, you go to the beach, or you go take a walk. So now, what's interesting, when I was a child, when I was about 8 or 9 years old, I was learning, and the first time I used to read this, and I go, who is this guy? He's the first guy, he was a father who played harp and flute. And then you read the Rashi. Rashi says the first time music was created was for ego, was for idol worship. The guy who started music was the first time he started to use it for his ego, for his selfishness. That's what Rashi says. The first time a person did music, he self-destructed with it. That's what Rashi says. But this, we're not going into it. You can look it up yourself, it's in any book. What it means is something else. So Rabbi Nachman now says, okay, who wants to read footnote 9? Who wants to read footnote 9? Who wants to help?
Okay.
Thank you. Your name?
Yechiel.
Yechiel. Welcome. Okay, now Rabbi Nachman is going to explain who these guys are. Yaval, Yuval, and Ada.
Yuval, who played harp and flute. Scripture relates that Cain's descendants, Lemach, married 2 women.
Okay, so Cain was the first murderer. He was thrown out, and he had, I think, a grandson or a great-grandson named Lemach, who married 2 women. Okay.
So Ada bore him Yaval, the first of all shepherds, and Yuval, the first to play musical instruments.
There you go. Okay, so now we get this fact down.
So good could come out of that.
Yeah, that's nothing new. Okay, so let's see what's next. So I'll just read a little bit. Therefore, we go back to the main text. Therefore, King David, may peace be upon him, was a skilled musician. He was a shepherd. Hi. we find too that all the patriarchs were all shepherds. Okay, I want someone to read. Michael, you want to read footnote 10?
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to go more into the history of the music and who these people were and how it started.
Nachman explains that Yuval's invention of musical instruments was a direct outcome of his brother's choice of occupation.
Period. It's getting very weird, no? Rabbi Nachman's making such a bold statement.
It's a clear cut. It's a focused statement.
It's a very bold statement.
So what's the basis? So he says, Yaval's tending of the animals brought about the need for instruments on which the shepherds could play their melodies when taking their flocks out to pasture.
Okay, stop.
Interesting.
See what he's saying? It's not just.
It's a deep thing.
It's very deep what he's saying. Does everybody understand what's going on
I
here?
have a little corollary information
Please.
to back
Of course.
this up.
This is we're not teaching. We're all sharing. Everybody's sharing
In
tonight.
the northern countries, when they used to herd animals
Right.
and have dogs involved in
Sure.
the process,
Sure.
how do they signal those dogs? With whistles
Right. You
and
sit here also.
and with wind instruments.
Really. Wow. All
In other
right.
words, they have a whole series of cues for those dogs
Right.
and the animals.
Very nice.
And so that's from a totally independent source, thousands of miles away. That's we know that to be the case.
Interesting how you can attract a dog or get a dog's attention by a melody,
Yeah.
a tune, an octave, right?
And they can actually be trained to do different things.
Right.
According to different.
Sure. Sure. Those sheepdogs are amazing.
Yeah.
They go shh. They go that. You do shh. They go this way. Pretty amazing. You can watch it on National Geographic
to
Channel.
know this in his locale, we have independent confirmation of this from way far.
Yeah, but what Rabbi Nachman is saying is very, very. I want to use the word weird and very bold. Yeah, but nobody ever said this. I think in the history of Torah, Nachman is saying, because these two sentences are next to each other, they mean something.
Yeah.
Like it says in the Torah, it mentions marriage, and then it mentions wearing a talus. So by the Ashkenazim, they say if you're not married, you can't wear a talus. But by the Sephardim, they don't follow that. The Sephardim say just because the sentences are next to each other doesn't mean they're connected. In the Torah, it mentions getting married, and then 2 or 3 sentences more it says you have to wear a talus. You should wear tzitzit. So, but Ashkenazim will say, oh, these 2 sentences mean that they're connected. That's why they're next to each other. The Sephardim, we don't follow that. We wear talus when we were like 5 years old. So Rabbi Nachman is saying the same thing here. These 2 sentences are next to each other. Oh, what does that mean? It means what I'm saying. This is what the whole Torah is. Right? Doing good?
I could think of a reason for the difference in customs, maybe.
Please.
This is preliminary. I haven't
That's okay.
thought about. There is a little bit of a difference in the philosophy between the way the Ashkenazi culture developed
Right.
and the way the Sephardi culture developed. And I know, of course, more from the Ashkenazi culture because I am from that culture. But basically, the concept there is, until you get married, you're not a full person.
Right.
You're not a full human being.
Right. You're training for it.
You're in training.
Mm.
So when can you bring it all out on the outside, that which you've had under your shirt?
Nice.
Is your this is once you are a full contributing member of society. When you get married,
Right. Interesting.
then you wear that. In the Sephardic culture, I think it's more as you're growing up, you progressively are more responsible and more of a person, and again more responsibility.
Sure.
So there's no dramatic change
It's a more mature.
when you get
mature.
it's a maturational process.
Definitely. It's also interesting how Sephardim, according to the Zohar, they tuck in the fringes of their tzitzit. They don't wear it out.
Oh,
The Zohar says, don't show off that you're religious. Put your tzitzit fringes inside your clothes.
so
Don't
even
wear
with
it out.
Even with a talit, they
No, the outside talus is different. I'm saying about the everyday small one. Ashkenazim say, no, put it out, because you're supposed to look at it and remember the Torah. So it's different little stuff. How are you? Okay, so let's see where we are here. Okay, so I just want to go to footnote 11. Who wants to read footnote 11?
I read it.
Yes, what's your name?
Leanne.
Pleasure, please. Okay, so just going back to where it says that King David was also a musician and a shepherd. Rabbi Nachman says, okay, so now what does that mean?
After Shmuel appointed David in place of King Shaul, God's spirit left the king. Shaul's counselors advised him to call for someone who would comfort him and calm his spirit with music and song. One of Shaul's attendants suggested David, lauding him to the king, "I have observed the son of Yishai the Bethlehemite, who is a skilled musician. He is a stalwart fellow and warrior, understanding and handsome, and God is with him."
Oh.
In the context of our lesson, Rabbi Nachman teaches that David's skill as a musician was a direct outcome of his being a shepherd assigned to tend his father's flock.
Very interesting. So again, so Rabbi Nachman just wants to bring shepherd and musician again. He brought a second proof. Okay? And then, if you want to read also footnote 12, it says that all the patriarchs were also shepherds.
Should we go?
Yes, please.
This bracketed text was inserted into the lesson by Reb Nosson. Elsewhere he explains that the patriarchs specifically chose this vocation because it involved rectifying the sparks of holiness which fell into the realm of vegetation when Adam sinned. By taking their flocks to graze in different pasture lands, they were able to use their melodies to refine the sparks which had fallen in each of these various locations.
Okay. So we're getting a little bit more into the understanding of the lesson. Okay, Rabbi Nachman now is going to bring another proof. You want to keep going? Into the main,
Sure.
and this is the concept?
This verse appears in Yeshayahu's prophecy about the time to come. From one end of the earth to the other, those who rejected God's kingship will be destroyed, after which the righteous will rejoice.
Okay, one second. I'm on page 281.